Alex, I walked into the shop this morning, reached for my coffee, and realized I'd left it right next to the miter saw. One cut into a piece of pressure-treated pine later, and I had what I like to call the maker's latte.
Please tell me you didn't drink the sawdust, Tiger.
Look, it adds fiber, and a distinct notes of resin and regret, but honestly, it's a metaphor for the day. Everything is blending together. Wood, metal, high-tech sensors. It's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, and the den is officially open.
Well, hopefully, your pulse has stabilized from the caffeine and pine needles, because today's digest is heavy on the heavy metal. We're talking precision fabrication, career jumps, and somehow LED floating stairs.
Stay with me on the stairs. But first, let's talk about the shift. If you haven't smelled ozone lately, you're missing out. The metal world is exploding. Here's the thing nobody tells you about metal shops. They used to be the grimy sibling of the woodworking studio. Not anymore. 70% of fabricators are dropping serious coin on new press brakes this year.
Wait, hold on. 70%? That's a massive pivot. Why the sudden obsession with bending metal?
Precision, man. In 2026, close enough is a death sentence for a business. These new machines have integrated angle measurement. Ask me how I know that's a godsend.
I'm guessing it involves a pile of scrapped aluminum and a very expensive mistake.
3 days of work, I was off by 2 degrees on a custom chassis. It looked fine until the final bolt up, then crunch. These new Bystronic machines, especially after they swallowed up Coherent's laser tech, are making it so a guy like me doesn't have to spend half his life with a protractor and a prayer.
So it's not just big factories?
No, that's the beauty of it. Faster, cleaner cuts are becoming the standard for the small shops too. And for the guys who still love the torch, GMA, or MIG welding for the laypeople, is getting a tech-infused facelift. It's becoming easier to learn because, frankly, there's a massive welder shortage and shops are desperate for equipment that doesn't take 10 years to master.
Speaking of mastering things, you saw the AWS Journal update, right? The American Welding Society is basically waving a giant flag for people to get licensed.
If you've been under the hood for a decade and your lower back is starting to give you that, hey, remember me? Twinge every morning, it's time to look at the CWI, the Certified Welding Inspector path.
I've always wondered, is that just a fancy way of saying the guy with the clipboard who ruins everyone's Friday?
Precisely. But that guy with the clipboard makes double what the guy with the torch makes. And he doesn't go home with metal splinters in his socks. There's a huge conference happening right now, the IEC, focusing on the legal responsibilities. With all the infrastructure projects kicking off this year, adding a structural steel endorsement is basically a license to print money.
But the paperwork, Tiger. You hate paperwork.
I do, but I hate structural failure more. The 2026 renewal process is streamlined now, so no excuses. If you're a maker in the trades, diversify your credentials before you diversify your tool collection.
Okay, let's talk money, because Maker Moguls sounds great, but most people are just trying to pay for their sandpaper habit.
The side hustle isn't a side hustle anymore, Alex. It's a business model. Look at what's happening with the Amazon brand registry. Makers aren't just selling one-off cutting boards. They're designing their own proprietary jigs or clamps and using fulfillment services to ship them globally while they sleep.
Okay, but what about the person who doesn't want to deal with shipping physical boxes? That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Then you go digital. Look at Jonathan Katz-Moses. The guy's a powerhouse because he realized that selling a digital plan for a workbench is a hell of a lot more scalable than building 50 work boxes and trying to find a truck big enough to move them.
So what's the Monday morning action item for the listeners?
Simple. Go into your shop. Look for the one task you do over and over that drives you crazy. For me, it was centering drawer pulls. I built a crappy plywood template for it years ago. If I'd spent 2 hours refining that into a 3D printable file or a laser-cut acrylic jig, that's a product. That's your first step toward the mogul path.
Okay, I promised we'd get to the art side of things. Floating stairs, addressable LEDs. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, Tiger. Isn't that a bit much for a weekend DIYer?
Oh, it's absolutely too much, and that's why it's brilliant. We're seeing a huge trend of people taking traditional carpentry, thick, heavy oak treads, and mounting them to hidden steel stringers. But the kicker is the 50-foot addressable LED strips.
Addressable? Meaning solder and your,
meaning every single little light bulb on that strip can be controlled individually. You put a motion sensor at the top and bottom, and as you walk, the light follows your feet. It's like being a wizard in your own hallway.
Until the cat runs up the stairs at 3 a.m. and sets off a light show that looks like a 1990s rave.
See, that's where the mastery part comes in. Pro tip, hide your controller, but make it accessible. I once built a custom cabinet with integrated lighting and buried the transformer behind a panel I glued shut.
No.
Yes, 3 months later, a capacitor blew. I had to use a crowbar on my own finished work. Ask me how I know, right? If you're doing the floating stair thing, make sure your tech is serviceable. Aesthetics are great, but maintenance is reality.
It really seems like the system is the common thread today, whether it's the shop layout or the wiring.
Exactly. I was watching Katz Moses' latest shop tour. The guy is the king of systems. He moved from a tiny garage to this massive empire, and he didn't do it because he's the fastest saw handler in the world. He did it because he organized his space, so he never has to look for a pencil.
Speaking of which, I haven't seen you with a pencil in 20 minutes.
I just had it behind the ear. No.
It's in your coffee, Tiger.
You're kidding. Well, at least the lead is lubricated now.
To wrap this up, what's the real takeaway for the folks listening in their trucks or their shops today?
Here's the thing. The Den isn't just about the tools, it's about the evolution. Whether you're upgrading to a CNC press brake, getting your CWI certification, or just trying to wire some lights into your stairs, the goal is the same. Don't just work harder. Build systems that let you work smarter.
And maybe keep your stationery away from your beverages.
That too. But seriously, identify that one bottleneck in your life this week. Fix the system, and the craft will follow.
Well said. We want to know what you guys are building. High-tech, low-tech, or just trying to survive the week without a shop fire. Drop it in the comments.
Until next time, stay sharp, keep the chips flying, and for heaven's sake, measure twice. See you tomorrow.